If I told you there was a video floating around that had a cop pulling his gun on a homeowner for trees and utilities, you may think I'm absolutely crazy, but unfortunately, this is a real video. We're going to talk about it and analyze from beginning to end to see who exactly is in the wrong here. You may automatically think the cop is in the wrong, but we're going to look at all of the different mistakes from such a short video too. This thing is littered with mistakes. So we're going to look at all of it, and I'm going to give you my opinion at the end as to who I think is in the wrong. Now, of course, I want to hear from you. No matter if you agree or disagree with my opinion, it's all good. Leave it down below. I also want to see if you guys are able to pick out any additional mistakes that maybe I missed throughout the video. So make sure you leave those comments down below after the video. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, just to throw this out there, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just giving you my opinion on what I see. And unfortunately, we don't have all the context. We only have like a minute video where we can kind of analyze and come up with a conclusion. Now, I think that we're going to be able to draw a pretty solid conclusion from this 1 minute video, but unfortunately, we don't have the full context available. Also, thanks to Intel Police and a lot of these YouTube channels, we're able to see some of these common interactions between police officers and, in this case, homeowners, so you get an idea of what sometimes can happen out in the real world, and we can analyze it for our channel as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, this video opens, the narrator is telling us that, hey, this homeowner is upset with the police officers for crossing his fence to get to his door, his gate to get to his door, and also the energy company that wants to cut trees down on his property.
This man was defending his property, refusing to let an energy company cut down trees on his land. Then a cop showed up and crossed onto his land without permission.
So as you can see, the cop and the homeowner, they're already not getting along. Now, unfortunately, we only see up to this point, but let's talk about that whole gate thing. Because police officers have the right to come to your door, just like any member of the public would, but that does not give them unfettered access, right? So if you have a gate and you have no trespassing signs, they can't just cross that gate for no reason. They have to have some kind of reasonable suspicion of a crime that you've committed or some kind of warrant to be able to cross that gate to get to your property. Now, of course, they could call you from the road or from the sidewalk and see if you'll answer the door. But just so you know, if a cop knocks on your door, first of all, you don't have to answer. Second of all, if you do answer, you want to make sure that you walk outside and close the door behind you, because anything they see, smell, or hear can be used against you, and that can be their reasonable suspicion to get inside your home. They have no right to be there, and you have no obligation to answer any kind of questions from them. Everybody needs to absolutely know that. There's a lot of great police officers out there, and we respect and support the ones that are good, but we obviously want to stay away from the ones that are bad, and we don't want to give them any kind of reason to come inside of our homes at all. Now, most people have given easement rights knowingly or unknowingly. So the very first homeowner, right? You may be the second, third, fourth, fifth, owner of your home. But the very first one can give easement rights to a utility company. And guess what? Those rights go on, whether you know it or not, all the way up until the point where the utility company either stops working in that area or whatever the case is. They're really the only ones, I think, that can terminate those easement rights. Now, you can deny those rights to them by going through, I'm sure, what's a lengthy process. I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what all that involves, but then I'm pretty sure you would be responsible for fixing anything if your power ever goes out or a line breaks or something like that. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but let me show you the rest of the interaction.
You need to get the f my property. No, I'm not going now, anywhere. You crossing gate, you have no right to cross. Midwest Energy has no right to be on the property either. No, they don't. You might want to check the county treasurer rights. They have no easement rights.
Okay, so fortunately, all of the cussing was taken out of there, so it makes my job a whole lot easier. So back to the easement rights. Now, looking at it from both angles, ideally, we would want all trees to be cut back enough, not cut down, but cut back enough where you give room to power lines. It makes them easier to see. It makes it easier to see where you have issues. And of course, it's going to make it less likely for any kind of storms to knock out power to a bunch of residents. And it also makes it less likely for wildlife to get onto those lines to cause issues as well. But sometimes that's just not the way things work out. I saw one up in Michigan where the power company ran a new power pole right through this lady's yard. Well, they had offered her $1,000 a tree to cut down, I don't know, like 50 or 60 trees at one time. I guess she denied it. They came back many years later and said, I tell you what, we're going to give you $8,500 total to cut down these trees. If you don't like that, then we're going to, I don't know, send it off and, sue you over it, or whatever steps they can take to actually get the right to cut down those trees anyways. There's been other cases where homeowners have had their trees just cut down, right? And obviously keeping the trees and the limbs off the power lines, I get it. But cutting down trees of homeowners that's a pretty serious offense to a lot of people, especially if you just leave the stumps behind, like one company I saw, and they basically said, all right, you actually have to pay for the stump removal on your own. We're going to clean up and we're going to get rid of the debris that we cut down, but you got to get rid of the stump. They didn't ask you to do that, right? The homeowner didn't ask you to do that. They shouldn't have to pay for something like that. I know personally, I love having trees in my yard. They just provide an amazing, aesthetic appeal and the wildlife, and they can, bring energy costs down, around your home and everything. So I totally get the appeal of having trees. And yeah, as a homeowner, I would be upset if they wanted to cut down trees as well. So coming to some kind of reasonable terms with the homeowner seems like the best thing to do. Okay, let's say we cut these back, or if it's a situation where we have to cut these down, maybe we can replant and compensate you fairly for those trees we have to remove. Now, I don't know if this homeowner denied all of that, but from the way this conversation played out, he's not happy with anybody in this situation. Here's the most concerning part of this video, though. We see the main officer that he's communicating back and forth with has his gun already drawn out of his holster. And he asked him, why do you have your gun drawn out? I don't have any weapons. And the officer's like, well, I don't know that.
Why do you have your gun out? Because I have no weapon? You're going to sit here? You saw my hands, asshole. Both of you with your hands on your gun and your gun drawn. Makes a lot of sense. You don't get to come to somebody's home and pull them out. That was not a warrant to come inside somebody's home.
The first thing is you crossed over into his property over a gate with presumably no trespassing signs. And it's obvious to me, I don't know if y'all picked up on this too, you probably did, but these two have some kind of history here.
Looking gun on a homeowner. Not come here to talk to a normal person, but you guys set up. You're not a normal. Yeah, you're a piece of shit.
They've had communications before. Something has happened. I'm actually very interested to know what's happened before between either this homeowner and this officer, or this homeowner and this entire police agency. Something. They have some kind of history. That's all we do know. And so you hear the officer say, oh, well, you always have to be a problem.
You always got to cause f***ing issues, don't you?
To me, what it sounds like is that the homeowner isn't willing to just lay down and give up his rights. It makes me think that the homeowner knows his rights, and the officers, some officers, bad officers, let me just say that, don't like that. Don't like you pointing out the fact that you know your rights. And that's exactly what it looks like in this case. And so this guy is so intimidated by this homeowner that he's willing to have his pistol drawn out. Now, you know as well as I do that brandishing your firearm is a pretty serious offense. It ranges from misdemeanor up to felony in some areas. Of course, that would never apply to these officers, even though they have it on film. It was an intimidating factor. That's all he was trying to do, is intimidate the homeowner. And after some internal investigation, they would probably say, nah, the officer was totally justified because he didn't know if the homeowner had a weapon. You're not dealing with a guy that's suspected of homicide or aggravated assault or aggravated robbery or something violent. You're having a dispute with a citizen or homeowner over trees and easements and utilities. So it's clear these two don't like each other, but is that a reason? Is that reason enough to have his gun drawn? Having your hand as an officer, with your hand in a place where you can get to your gun quickly, totally understand that, right? Because maybe one of them or both of them don't know him. Maybe they just know about this homeowner. I think they know him. But either way, maybe that's the case. But having your gun drawn out to intimidate this homeowner, knowing it didn't work, and then telling that homeowner that he's a problem, that makes me think that the cops know they're in the wrong somehow. Now again, that's just an assumption, but that's what I'm picking up on this video. But all I can say is two officers crossing private property that's gated in the middle of daylight with their guns drawn to confront a homeowner over trees and easement rights seems like overkill.
Talk with the county treasurer. Yeah, pull the gun on a homeowner. Not come here to talk to a normal person, but you guys set up. You're not a normal person. Yeah, you're a piece of shit. Get off my property. Have a good day.
And it clearly is them trying to intimidate the homeowner to do what they want or what they want the utility company to do too. Either way, it is just way too much. And I think these officers are really out of line. And I think it really shows one important thing. Not everybody can be officers, right? I see officer interactions all the time, especially since I started doing these a few months ago, right? Now I see them all the time on my YouTube feed and all that. And you see some officers, man, they just come in, if somebody knows their rights, they respect that, right? And they know how to talk to people, and it's just not intimidation. It's just one person talking to another. They got a uniform on, but that doesn't matter. Some people just are built and have the mindset to be a police officer. This guy, no matter what the history really is, he has zero couth or personality to be a police officer. I mean, he's almost treating this guy as if the homeowner ran off with his wife at some point. Like, that's how much he hates this guy, apparently.
Hey, what happened to the family portrait?
Oh,
You just crudely pasted your face over mine.
we're getting married, Ricky.
Ricky, you and I, we both know that this marriage has been over for a long, long time.
No! I honestly did not know that!
And again, I'd love to know the backstory. We don't, but we don't really even need to know it because there's obviously something that's going on there. But this guy just does not need to be a police officer whatsoever. Clearly, I think he's the one in the wrong. But I want to hear your opinion. What are some of the mistakes that you've seen in this video that maybe I missed? And also, leave me your opinion about how the police officers acted in this situation, or even the homeowner. Let me know what you think down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one. And as always, holding down. Now, I don't want you guys to think I watched this whole video and didn't notice the field goal post that's just in his yard. And this thing is not like a small one. This thing is as big and solid as any one that I've ever seen. So I did notice that. It's almost like a little Ray Finkel action here. Maybe this guy missed wide left or wide right in college, and he's trying to relive those days. I have no idea what's going on, but I definitely noticed that, by the way.